Hey everyone, this is the ShutInBakas. My name is Chris. Today I am back for some Higurashi content. We're going to be talking about the watch order and things you should know about Higurashi when they cry, or if we want to talk the Japanese name, Higurashi no Naku Koro ni. So this show is pretty gory and confusing to get into if you haven't seen any of it. It's actually quite a weird show to get into in the sense of figuring out where to start. So I'll just put it out on the open right now. The people who still think that Goal is a remake of the original series, it's not. It started off pretending to be one, but it's not. I think that was a bad move on their part because they got people who didn't know anything about the series into it and now they're confused. And they got people who wanted more of the series but didn't want to watch a remake, and they just don't know that this is a new part of the series. So that was a bad decision on their part. But anyway, I digress. We'll look into it a bit more. The art style is pretty bad in the first season. It's not very good. And I also highly recommend you watch it only in Japanese because the English dub is pretty atrocious. At least for the original series, I haven't watched the English dub on Go or Sotsu yet, so I can't talk on that. But I recommend the Japanese version because you get all the cute speech impediments that all the characters have, so that's the best part. And you can also watch the first season on Netflix, and Go and Sotsu on Funimation. As for the rest of the original series, I can't find it on legal streaming sites here in Oceania, so if you guys know where to find them legally, let us know in the comments. And yeah, overall, that's the main, piece of what you need to know about, the series. Now let's talk about the watch order. The watch order is the original When They Cry from 2006. This one is the one that everyone knows the best because it was so out there and bizarre when it came out. The art style was very different. The fact that it was so gory was just not very heard of at that time period because everything was very moe at the time. As you can tell by the eyes on the main characters, they were going through the big eye phase, I guess you could say. And it was also done by Studio Dean, so it's actually a pretty good looking show. The animation is decent, its atmosphere I think is its best part. The music is good, the sound effects, the voice acting in Japanese is good. It's just the animation and art style is a bit meh, but that's about it really. Next up, after that, you go to Higurashi Kai, which, I'm not going to spoil anything that happens in these, but technically Kai is a sequel and also retelling from a different character's perspective, but it is a sequel, so don't worry, if you watch this you will be getting a completely different experience to the first season. It's not like you're watching the same thing over and over again. So, this is my favourite season, just because of how much was emphasized in it, so take my word for it, the season is not as boring as it might seem. It's actually very good. Then we've got Higurashi Ray, which is a smaller OVA sequel. It's technically an OVA, but I would call it a third season, just because it is technically a sequel to the original. It's got 2 episodes which are complete fan service and have nothing really to do with the main story, and the other 2 episodes are another part of the story that's quite, it's kind of like a psychological look into the main characters. So I think it was an interesting one in that regard, but it was also kind of unnecessary. But speaking of unnecessary, Higurashi Goal, which also stands for Higurashi New. They couldn't have named it any worse. I kind of want to say it, think of it like this. You know how High School DxD had the second season as High School DxD New? Same concept. Except this one pretended it was a remake of the first season, and then it turned out it wasn't. So, yeah, it was a bit of a weird thing, because when I was watching it in live time, I was like, okay, this is a kind of a neat retelling, but then as smaller things started to change, I realized, wait a minute, are they changing this to make the story a bit different, or is this a sequel? Turns out it's a sequel, so do not get fooled, this is a sequel. I have to state this as many times as possible, because some people still think that this is a remake. And yeah, it was a very bad marketing decision on their end, and I can't believe they actually did this. But yeah, it's a sequel to the original series, so keep that in mind. And lastly, Sotsu, which hasn't finished yet, as of the time I'm recording this, but we are getting very close to the end. We're 2 episodes off, and I'm very excited to see how they're going to end it, because honestly, the beginning of Sotsu was pretty lame, I'm not going to lie. It was just kind of retelling everything that happened in Goal from a different perspective, just like Kai to the original, but in a kind of worse way, because it was just explaining how these things happened, not giving us any more information. Or, I don't know, it's just, at the moment it's not my favourite, let's put it that way. I do like the show. I really love the new art style. I really am struggling to look back at the original. If you don't know, the original series was done, well, obviously I've already said, but the original series was done by Studio Bones, but the new series, Go and Sotsu, were done by Passione, and they changed the art style completely to something a bit more cutesy, but also a bit more expressionative, I guess, because basically all the characters in Go and Sotsu have these faces that are really cute, and their designs are cute, and it's all, you know, cute, you know. It's very strange when they go absolutely psychotic and start going on murderous rampages, and I think that actually does help the disconnect of the two. You know, of the sweet innocence to, dear God, what's happening, sort of thing. I think the new art style is definitely helping with that. Whereas the old one was kind of like, the original series had a problem where the characters looked crazy from the beginning because their art style was so bad. But this one is actually much better. So that's my personal opinion. The art style has grown on me quite a lot. So if you're struggling to go from the original to Go, just smash through Goal. You won't even think about the art style anymore because you just get used to it. And as far as I'm aware, all the voice actors are the same in Japanese. The English cast, I think, got redone, so it's not terrible anymore from what I've heard, so that should be good. Apparently, there's still the problem of English voice actors, you know, saying Japanese words because there's no English, you know, actual word for it. So it's like, Nippa! It's a bit cringe from what I've heard, but what are you going to do? Watch it in Japanese, that's what you're going to do. And lastly, we'll just quickly talk about the extra OVAs, such as the OVAs for Kai and the original series. Those are just kind of like 1 minute long fun pieces, I suppose. You wouldn't really call them like a proper episode or anything. It's just for fun, really. And there's a different one called Higurashi Outbreak. I haven't watched that yet, but apparently it's like, it was released in 2013 or something. It was around that time when there was the big Higurashi drought. And it, for the most part, looks like it's non-canon from what I've seen. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't tell you. I'll make a video on it when I've actually watched it. You just can't find it anywhere is the main problem. So yeah, hopefully that was kind of a you know, good look at how to watch Higurashi. It's kind of a confusing series to watch since they don't name everything 1, 2, 3, 4, all that jazz. It's all naming conventions, and that can confuse people quite a lot. But overall, I would say the series is totally worth it. Watch the first season on Netflix. The rest of Kai and Ray, I can't find them on Netflix or anywhere else legal in Oceania, so I have them on DVDs. But I will say I will let you guys get away with watching them on sketchy websites, because if they don't let us watch them legally, then we kind of have to go about it the other way, right? That's kind of their bad for making it not watchable in our countries. In my personal opinion, that's their bad, not ours. Because if we want to, we would give them money if we had the option to. But the point is, we don't have the option to, so therefore they're missing out because they're just not giving us what we want. So that's kind of that, really, in my opinion. And of course, you go watch Goal and Sotsu on Funimation. You can actually watch Goal still on Anime Lab if you still have that and prefer it. Just Sotsu started airing on Funimation after the buyout, that is. So keep that in mind. Anyway, I hope that was information, helpful information for someone who's new to the series and wanting to know, what the watch order is, because it is a bit confusing. Anyway, hit the like button if you liked the video, dislike it if you didn't. Leave a comment down below telling me your thoughts on Higurashi When They Cry series. It's honestly one of my favorite anime, period. Like, I really love this series. And subscribe if you're new to the channel, hit the bell button if you want to know when we're uploading. Follow me on Twitter at ShutInBakas, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.